Welcome to Please Me, the award-winning sexuality podcast bringing you bold conversations and big clit energy. I'm thrilled to announce that Please Me is the #1 ranked sexuality podcast in the USA and worldwide. I'm Eve, your host, on a journey from trauma to sexual liberation. Join me and my guests as we dive into conversations around orgasm equality, self-love, body positivity, and essential sex education. Let's reclaim pleasure and close the orgasm gap, one empowering conversation at a time. Today I'm sharing a webinar that I did around Christmas called Get Harder, Wetter, and Safer for the Holidays. We're also getting very close to selecting the ARIA giveaway winner, making now the perfect time to join Patreon. Paid members receive ad-free access, the full kink series, exclusive photo sets, and bonus content. As a thank you, I'm gifting ARIA Luxury Lubricant, a $50 value, to the 10th person who joins my paid Patreon for $10 a month. Since we're almost there, I am also giving away a 1-hour coaching session to the 20th paid member on Patreon. That's a $350 value for $10 a month, so don't wait another minute and join now. If you're listening right now and getting value from this show, don't just enjoy me in silence. Hit follow on whatever platform you're on. The stats say you're here, but the follow button says you're playing hard to get. Following is the easiest, sexiest way to support this self-funded indie show. It tells the algorithm in me that you want more. If you loved an episode or 3, don't be selfish, share it with a friend who could benefit. Podcasts exist to make our lives better, and supporting your host keeps this one alive and thriving. One more thing, check out my affiliates. Supporting them supports me, and I promise I only partner with things worth your time that I either use myself or recommend to my clients. Want to ask a question for the Please Me podcast? Join the conversation on Patreon or subscribe to my Substack newsletter for exclusive content, behind-the-scenes updates, and a chance to have your questions featured on the show. Please Me is for mature audiences, so sit back, relax, and surrender to the pleasure of Please Me. My name is Eve Hall. I'm a licensed physical therapist that treats sexual health conditions and the pelvic floor. I treat things like erectile dysfunction and its female equivalent, decreased vaginal sensitivity and dryness, and I'm going to be talking about those conditions today specifically because we want to get harder and wetter, right? That's what this webinar is about. I'm also going to be talking about the protocols that I use for my clients that come to see me, what you can do to incorporate some of these things into your life to get harder and wetter on your own, right? And then I'm also going to be talking about safety, safety in the bedroom, and how to build a sexual health bug out bag. I did an episode on that. As you may know, I have a podcast called Please Me, and here's Lexi Silver from SDC.com. She's been on my show a couple of times, and that's the name of the show, Please Me. And the show is actually this year, I'm happy to say, is #1 in the United States and globally in the sexuality category. And it also ranks in health and fitness. And it also has been ranking in self-help as of late. So I'm really proud of that. It's really kind of spanning the spectrum of different categories in the podcasting world. The show is a little bit over 2 years old, and I like to talk all things sexuality. The idea is to destigmatize conversations about sex and sexual health. So Valencia, welcome. España is one of my top 5 countries. Yes. So my show had top 5 countries in Spotify, and one of them was Spain, and then the others were Australia, the United States, Great Britain, Ireland, and I already said Australia, didn't I? Did I miss one? No, I said Spain. So that was all 5. So those are my top 5 countries that have been listening to the show. And I'm really excited that Spain is one of them because Spain is near and dear to my heart. I lived there for 4 years in Madrid, and I love Spain. So, and I love Valencia too. It's a beautiful city. I went there for the festival there. I can't remember the name of it, but it was the one where they burned down the effigies. That was super cool. I'm sure you'll be able to remind me what that is. So anyway, my show has been doing really well this year. It's #1 in the United States and globally. I won a couple of awards this year and was nominated for, I don't even know how many, I should count them all, but probably at least 10. A couple of ASN awards, some Women in Podcasting awards, 8 Latin podcast awards, and I won one for the LGBTQ, the best LGBTQ plus show, which was a big surprise because there are many that are out there. And my show doesn't always talk about those topics, but it sometimes does. And so I was really proud to get that award. Spotify also gave me a few awards, and I'd love to share those with you. One of them was a Rising Star Award, and my show was actually, it grew more than 99% of other podcasts on Spotify. And then there was another award called, what was it called? There was 2 other awards. One of them was a sharing award. My show was shared by more than 98% of other podcasts on Spotify. And the last one was a binge award. And I don't think that was the name of it. I can't think of the name of it right now. But basically, it means that my listeners listened to 2 or more episodes, and 99%, more than 99% of other podcasts on Spotify. So I got 3 awards from Spotify, which was super awesome. Super proud of that. And I hope that if you're listening and you're interested in the topics that I covered today, you might want to check out my show and subscribe wherever you listen. I'm on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, and I am, the video is on Spotify, so you can stream it there. And the show itself is on another maybe 17 or 18 other platforms. If you like our iHeartRadio or some of the other ones, you can listen to them there as well. So today we're going to be talking about getting harder, wetter, and safer for the holidays. So happy holidays, everybody out there that's listening. It is holiday season, and next week is actually Christmas. Hanukkah is already started. Kwanzaa's coming up. And so it is, we are all in the spirit of shopping and of getting things together for the holidays. I just put my Christmas tree up last night. So exciting all around at this time of year. One of the things that I want to talk about in terms of getting harder, so we're going to start with that part first, is a treatment that I do in my practice, and I want everybody to know about it because it is the gold standard in treatment for erectile dysfunction, and it's called acoustic wave therapy. And I've spoken about it before on SDC.com, but I'm just going to break it down a little bit. Acoustic wave therapy is a treatment that's similar to an ultrasound wand, but it delivers a different type of energy, acoustic waves. And what the acoustic waves do is they break up the blockages that are in the blood vessels. And so over time, as we age, we start to develop something called atherosclerosis, or like blockages in our blood vessels, right? And over time, that can cause things like heart disease. And many people who've had triple bypasses, quadruple bypasses, that's because their blood vessels to their heart were blocked. Well, those blood vessels in the genital area can also become blocked. And because they are smaller blood vessels than the ones that go to your heart, sometimes the symptoms show up in those blood vessels sooner than they would in your heart. So your heart may feel fine, but you may start to develop erectile dysfunction. And over time, this happens to a lot of men. 20% of men in their 20s already have some form of erectile dysfunction. And it goes up 10% per decade. So 30% in their 30s, 40% in their 40s, etc. And so by 50 years old, 50% of men have some form of erectile dysfunction. So it's extremely, extremely common. And these blockages can be treated with acoustic wave therapy. The acoustic wave therapy is like an ultrasound wand, very similar to it, and it's moved over the tissue of the penile tissue and the surrounding tissue, the thighs, and the blood vessel areas that go to the genital area. And the treatment is also done on the perineum, and the perineum is the space between the anus and the testicles. So This treatment is the gold standard in treating erectile dysfunction. But I want to say here that I'm not just here to talk about dysfunction, I want to talk about prevention too. Because prevention is what we all really should be thinking about. We should be trying to be healthy throughout our lives so that we don't develop any kind of conditions along the way, right? And so this treatment can actually be used as a preventative strategy as well. And oftentimes people will find that it is like a turbo boost of your penile function. And so that is another possibility in terms of acoustic wave therapy. Now, I am in South Florida. I'm in Palm Beach County. And, if you are interested in coming to see me, it would have to be one-on-one in person in my clinic. However, there is a lot that can be done virtually, and I do health coaching as well. And I have an entire protocol of things that I have my clients do if they're coming to me for erectile dysfunction. And I'm going to be talking about some of those things today. So one of those things that I have my clients do, one of their homework assignments after they've come to see me and we've gotten their history and all of that, is that I ask them to get a penis pump. And a penis pump is really essential because if you think about the muscles of the penis, okay, there are smooth muscles in there. They need to be worked out just like your biceps need to be worked out or your walking muscles need to be worked out. Otherwise, they will atrophy. And it's something called penile atrophy. And the vagina has something very similar. It's called vaginal atrophy. It's also in men called penile shrinkage. And this is something that can happen over time if you are not using it. I'm sure everyone has heard the saying, if you don't use it, you'll lose it, right? And that is absolutely the case with our function of our sexual organs. So what I like to talk to my clients about is using the penis pump on a daily basis for 10 to 15 minutes a day. And what that does is it engorges the penis, it fills it with blood, and it holds the blood there for 10 minutes. And what's really amazing about the penis pump as well as it giving your penis exercise, right? Daily exercise, is that it also can help you to get thicker. Okay. And I did another episode or webinar about getting thicker and longer. And I'm going to be talking a lot about that too. Welcome from Europe. What country are you in Europe? There's so many. So I'm going to just show you the penis pump that I recommend. And the reason why I recommend this particular one, and I had a guest on my show this season, and he talked to me specifically about this penis pump. And it was the first episode of season 6. His name was Sam, and he talked about this specific penis pump. And what's amazing about this pump is that sometimes when you get a pump, right, it's like one size fits all. And if you are, on the smaller side, you might have some space around the edges, right? And we don't want space there because then it's not going to cause a good suction. So what's lovely about this pump is that it comes in the size that comes with the pump. This is the size that comes with the pump. But it also, as you graduate and you get thicker, you can get bigger sizes. And I believe it's 4 sizes that they have. And so this is a really great thing to do to exercise your penis and those smooth muscles in your penis on a daily basis. And so my clients, I recommend that they do 10 to 15 minutes per day. And another thing about this pump too, and why I think it's really awesome that it has different sizes. So this is the smaller one, as you can see, this one's smaller, is that when you start off with the smaller one, you can graduate to the bigger sizes, but also what you don't want is to have any like space here, because what can happen is if there's too much space, it can also suction in your testicles, and that's extremely painful, okay? So we want to start with the pump that's most appropriate for your size, and then as your penis gets thicker, right, then we can graduate to the next size, continuing to use it on a daily basis for 10 to 15 minutes a day. Okay, I have a question here. Okay, yes. So the purpose is to to practice using the muscles so that they don't atrophy, and to get the blood to flow into the penis, so that it is being used appropriately on a daily basis, so that when you are going to use it for sex, you're ready to go, right? And also, when you use a penis pump over time on a regular basis, it can actually increase the thickness of your penis. Okay, it's not going to do as much for the length, but it's gonna help you to get a thicker penis. And so some people may want that. I wouldn't complain, for sure. So I'm putting away my penis pump because I'm going to show you the next thing. And the next thing is a penis extender. Okay, and the penis extender, it looks like this. Here, I'll put it closer to the camera so you can see. This way. Your penis goes in this way, and it hooks. The head of the penis hooks this way, okay? And then you pull this down so that it holds it in place. And there is a little spring action in there, okay? I can kind of push it together so you can see. It's kind of hard to show you. Oh, there it goes. So there's like a little spring action in there. And what it does is it causes traction, okay? Traction meaning it pulls on the penis, and you would wear it 30 minutes at a time, up to 2 hours per day. That's what's recommended. And this is going to help your penis to become longer over time. And what happens is, as your body is being pulled, which I find super interesting, as your body is being pulled, or the penis is being pulled, more cells are going to start forming somewhere in the middle there to extend it out. And so over time, you can actually gain length. And Sam, who I interviewed, is a user of these two devices, and he's a big fan. And he's also the owner of the company. But he was first a customer before he became the owner of the company. And he said that his wife eventually was like, okay, enough with the length. You know, we've reached our limit on the length. You can keep using the pump, but stop with the length, because it was getting too long for her. So absolutely makes a big difference if you use it on a regular basis. So that is another thing that I like to recommend to my clients who might have experienced penile shrinkage, or that they don't want to. They want to maintain their length, or maybe even make it longer. Okay, so those are the two things that I wanted to talk to you about, erectile dysfunction and just making your penis thicker and longer. Let me just see if there's any questions as I go along here. Yes. So someone mentioned masturbation, right? And for men, it's important to masturbate or to ejaculate at least 22 times in a month, because that helps to decrease your risk of prostate cancer. So masturbate, okay? It's so essential to keep your sexual function healthy. And for women as well. And we're going to get into women in a little bit. I'm starting to just focus just on the men to start. But yes, having ejaculating 22 times or month, 22 times or more per month helps to decrease the risk of prostate cancer. And I will also say too that, you know, this is a swinger website and we all love to, you know, have fun, right? And what we want is to really kind of prolong our pleasure. So edging is something that I really highly recommend for men to practice on a regular basis. And I also always give homework of masturbation to my patients too. So not just the penis pump, but also masturbating, because I want you to reach ejaculation, because that is going to help you to decrease your risk of prostate cancer. And it's also going to give you the opportunity to work on edging. And edging is the practice where you get to the point where you're about to ejaculate and then you stop and you let the sensation dissipate, and then you do it again. And you continue to edge to teach your body how to last longer, because if you want to last longer so that you can pleasure your partner, right? Okay. So let's see. I'm not understanding, Dog, your question, because it says, just rewrite it so that
There's no typos because I'm not understanding. Any true data to support girth increase? I believe that they do have data. I don't have it on hand. But yes, it's okay. So Swell, you can disagree with me. That's fine. But you are getting education right now. And so education is being woke. And so if you don't like education, I don't know. I mean, most people want to learn things that are new, right? So, okay, so girth is good for me. Okay, does the pump make you come? So I think it might. It depends on the person, but it's not meant to. It really engorges the penis, so you're gonna have a lot more blood than you normally would in there because it really pulls the blood in from your bloodstream and it pulls it into your penis and it gets very red. And so it's going to be like hyper filled with blood. Maybe that could be pleasurable for some people, maybe not. So you will have to try it out and you can let me know. Prostate massage is also really good too. I'm not getting into that today because that's not a treatment that I do in my practice. But if you know somebody that can give you a prostate massage, go for it. Any kind of massage helps to bring blood flow to the area, just like dry needling does. And so it is really good for your health. And dry needling is something that I do in my practice. It's the Western equivalent of acupuncture. And there are different treatments that you can do to help increase blood flow to the genital area. Okay, so I answered that question already. So typically what I do is I give patients 10 minutes of homework with the pump per day. And then I also give them masturbation homework. So masturbating as well. So you might want to wear the pump for 10 minutes and then masturbate afterwards so that you can ejaculate, because I do want you to ejaculate. Okay. Okay, so what else? What else can we talk about in terms of men? I wanted to cover nutrition. Nutrition is one of those things that is extremely essential and important to keep us healthy throughout our lives, right? Because we want to be experiencing amazing sex well into our 70s, 80s, and 90s and beyond, right? And so staying healthy is extremely important from the inside out. And I like to recommend a product that I've been using for at least 10 years. It's called Juice Plus. And basically what it is encapsulated produce. So all of us should be eating at least 10 servings of fruits and vegetables per day. And unfortunately, the average American eats about 1.5 servings of fruits and vegetables per day. So we're very lacking in nutritional content in our food. So what Juice Plus does is it sort of bridges the gap between what you should be eating and what you are eating. And it gives you that nutrition, those micronutrients to help your body to be healthy. And why is that important for your body to be healthy on the inside, right? Well, first of all, it makes the outside look better, right? It helps with your skin. It helps with your weight management. And also, it helps with your endothelial health. And the endothelium is the lining of the blood vessels. And we're talking about blood flow here, right? So if you have blockages in your blood vessels, that's not going to be healthy for you. But the Juice Plus helps to keep the endothelium nice and clear of blockages and very healthy. So it's something that I do recommend to my clients as well. And it comes in either capsule form or chewable form. I personally love the chewables because I have a hard time swallowing capsules all the time. But this is the container for the capsules. This is the fruit one. And then there's berry ones. And then there's also vegetable ones. And you would have 2 of each one each day. And that gives you the nutrition of 30 fruits and vegetables in your body every single day. And it is an amazing product. I will never stop taking it. I will take it to the day that I die because it's just so good for you. They also do a really lovely plant-based omega, which I also take this daily as well. Omegas are good for your brain health, your skin health, and so many other things that I can't think of off the top of my head, but excellent, excellent product to incorporate into your diet if you're not doing omegas. And what I like about this one is that it's plant-based. So you're cutting out the middleman, meaning you're cutting out the fish. A lot of the omegas that you get on the market come from fish. And the fish get it from plants. And so you're eliminating the fish, which could be, tainted or have like, other things in it that you don't want. And you're just getting it from the plants. And this comes directly from plants. And I believe it has every type of omega in it. It has 3 DHEA, 5, 7, 6, and 9. So and EPA and ALA, which is alpha linoleic acid. And I can't remember which vitamin that is, but it's good stuff. Okay. So that's Juice Plus. I wanted to share with you because nutrition is absolutely essential if you want to have good function, sexual function, for the rest of your life. So nutrition is extremely important. Eating as many fruits and vegetables as possible. In general, limiting your meat intake because meat has cholesterol in it, and limiting your cholesterol laden foods. Okay. So fish is really good. You have to be careful with the bigger fish and mercury, which is why I really love the omega that comes directly from plants. It's kind of skipping that middle man. And so you're eliminating a lot of those things that you might get from fish. Okay, perfect. So repeating the name of what exactly? Of the penis pump. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to talk about all of the things, okay? And then I hope that you signed up for this webinar, because if you did, you're involved then in a group chat. So if you didn't, you can go back to the flyer and add yourself to the name or to the list, the guest list. That way we are all in the same group chat, so that I can send you the name of the penis pump that I recommend, the extender, the Juice Plus, and anything else that we discussed today. Okay, so just make sure that you sign up for the webinar. You can also always just reach out to me on sdc.com. I'm on here a couple times a month. I check my messages, so feel free to always reach out to me here as well. Okay. The name of the supplement is called Juice Plus, and I will include a link. They're actually doing a sale right now for the holidays, but I will include a link so that you can, if you wanted to order them, you could order them through me. Okay. Because it's one of those companies where you usually have like somebody that you order it through. Okay. If you can go to the general rub site too, but what they do is they just then give it to a person who sells it. So, and it would not be me. So I will share all of that information with you later. Okay. So let's see if there was anything else that I wanted to talk about in terms of male health. Let's see. Oh, I know another thing that I wanted to talk about that it's actually not on my notes. And I did a podcast with somebody that talked to me about a smart penis ring. Have you guys heard of this? A smart penis ring? Actually, yes. The Netherlands, I believe, is one of the countries that Juice Plus does ship to. And if you're talking about Juice Plus, I know that it is an international company, and I'm pretty sure that all of the countries in Europe are covered. So I'm pretty sure that you could get it from the Netherlands. So I'll share my link later. But my website is evelynhall.juiceplus.com. So continuing on, the penis ring, the smart penis ring. This technology is incredible. It was developed by a doctor whom I did interview on my show. His name is Dr. Justin. Is that his first name or is that his last name? I can't remember if that was his first or last name, but it might come to me the rest of it as we go along. But he talked to me about a penis ring that he created. And basically what it does is it measures the amount of blood flow that goes into your penis at night or during sex. Okay. And at night, you should be having at least 3 nighttime woods. Okay. You should be having, getting hard at least 3 times a night. Now, if it reduces to 0 times a night, it is a direct link to heart disease and a heart attack or stroke. So it is a very big predictor of heart attack and stroke. So what I love about the smart ring is that it can be used to, give people a real good indication of what their heart health is like. And I will have a link for that as well later. I'm not going to share that now, but it's incredible that a smart ring technology can be directly linked to heart disease, heart attack, and stroke. And so what you do is you wear the ring overnight, and it measures the amount of times that you get hard and you have an erection. And so erectile health is a very, very important indicator of general overall health, which is why I like to talk about making sure that you keep healthy throughout your life. And you don't get to the point where you're so far gone that it's really hard to turn back the time. And it's a lot of extra work, which is also possible. I know many people that have been, almost on the verge of heart attack, if not having one, right? And then they change their diet significantly. And you can see that the blockages in the, blood vessels that are almost completely blocked start to dissipate and start to become clear from eating a healthy diet. But the most important thing is nutrition. And when you think about nutrition and you think about health, 80% of health is nutrition. 20% is the exercise that you do, the amount of sleep that you get, and the water that you drink. Okay, so half of your body weight in ounces is what you should drink every single day in terms of your water intake. You should be trying to get 7 to 8 hours of sleep per night, and you should move your body. Okay, sex is one of those movements, right? But move your body every day in a way that is enjoyable to you. Some people love going to the gym. Some people like taking long walks. Whatever it is, however you like to move your body, that's the exercise that you want to do because you want it to be something that you enjoy so that you're going to follow through and do it on a regular basis. Okay. What about age? Yes. So the reason why age decreases or reduces erections is because of nutrition. Okay. It's not the age itself. Okay. The age has nothing to do with it. As we get older, we've made worse and worse choices, or the culmination of many different bad choices of food that you're putting into your body over time causes blockages in your blood vessels. And so that's why as you get older, you will start to see erectile dysfunction get worse. Okay. But it doesn't have to necessarily do with the age. It has to do more with the fact that you're eating bad things, and over time it's building on itself and causing more issues. So yes, age is a factor, but it doesn't have to be. You can stay healthy and strong, and your endothelial tissue, which is the lining of your blood vessels, can be very healthy if you are eating right, which is why I super recommend the Juice Plus, because it really does help you bridge that gap. Okay. So I talked about the ring now, and I talked about nutrition, and we talked about sleep. Okay. Oh, and then let's talk about before we move on to wetter. Okay, because we're still in the harder portion, right? We're going to get to the wetter soon, and a lot of the wetter is crossing over from the hard too, because we have similar structures, right? So I want to talk about one more thing before we move on, and that is stem cell technology. And stem cells are the precursor to every single cell in your body. And every single cell in your body has to turn over at some point. Okay. So the tongue cells, for instance, that are used constantly when you're eating and swallowing, etc., they turn over every 10 to 14 days. Okay. So if you adopt a new diet, in 14 days, you are going to have different taste buds than you have now. So if you love sweet foods or salty foods, and you eliminate those things for 14 days, on the other side of that, you're going to be craving less of those things because your taste buds have gotten used to not eating them. Okay. So it's really, really important to know these things about how you can sort of make changes over time to make yourself healthier. So your whole entire body, top to bottom, every cell in your body turns over in a year. So it's important to have new stem cells, right? And as we get older, so to the point of about age, as we get older, our body becomes less and less able to create stem cells. And stem cells are the cells that create new cells in our bodies. So we can supplement with a company or a product called LifeWave. And LifeWave is a light technology product. It comes in a sticker form. You stick it on your body, and the light that emanates from your body, the aura of your body. And if you look at somebody, there's different types of scans that you can get that you can see the light coming off of your body. You don't typically think about people having light emanating from their body, but we do. We actually do have light emanating from our body. So this technology is a sticker that you put on your body in various different places. You can place it, and it reads the light coming off of your body, and it triggers your stem cell production. And so this is another incredible product that you can add to your repertoire of things to take care of your health. What about age? Does that not reduce erections? Okay, so I just talked about that. As you get older, you may see a reduction in erections. Yes. So 20% of people in their 20s, men, have some form of erectile dysfunction. 30% in their 30s, 40% in their 40s, 50% in their 50s. It goes up 10% per decade. So yes, there is a correlation between age and erectile function, but it is because of the nutritional factors and your lifestyle that is causing the decrease, not the age itself. Okay. And I just want to distinguish that, because you can be very, very healthy as you get older if you focus on staying healthy throughout your life. And that is what this is all about, right? So now I'm going to jump into getting wetter. Okay. And so women have a similar structure than the penis called the clitoris. And the clitoris is an organ that's almost just the size of a penis. And do I have my little thing on? Oh, no, I don't know where it is. It's usually over there on the shelf, my clitoris anatomical shape. But anyway, it's almost the size of a penis. It gets engorged like the penis, meaning it needs blood flow. And when blood is not flowing to the vagina, the clitoris, and the vulva, which are the lips that go around the vaginal opening and above, when we don't have enough blood flow, it causes decreased sensitivity and dryness. And the reason why it causes dryness is because the blood is what makes it wet. When it gets engorged, when all the blood goes to that area, the plasma of the blood seeps through the walls of the vagina and surrounding tissue and causes it to become wet. Okay. And so this is why blood flow is also so essential for women. Okay. And so for women, if you're experiencing decreased vaginal sensitivity and dryness, the gold standard in treatment is acoustic wave therapy. And that decreases the blockages, like I said before, in the blood vessels, allows them to flow away. And over time, it increases capillary formation. And capillaries are the teeny tiny blood vessels that go to all the cells in your body to bring nutrition to those cells. And so it's essential to have key blood flow, okay, for women as well, not just men, okay? We also need to get engorged. We also need to get a quote unquote hard on before we're ready for sex. What's amazing about women's bodies is that we take about 20 to 25 minutes to get warmed up so that we're ready for penetration. But what's incredible is that as the blood is flowing, something called tenting happens in the vaginal canal. And what happens is that, typically the vagina, it kind of folds in on itself and it's kind of closed in, like the walls close in on itself. This helps it to, once the blood starts to flow, open up and elongate. So it actually gets longer to accept the penis, but it takes 20 to 25 minutes to warm up. So tip out there, make sure you're not skipping foreplay. Make sure you're not skipping really getting the vagina and surrounding tissue engorged. Okay. And that is also going to help with pleasure. All right. We need to have lots of blood flow to experience pleasure, because if there's not enough blood flow, there's not enough sensitivity. And we want all the sensitivity that we can get. Okay. Okay. So we're talking a lot about sex, right? So sometimes that can be a turn on. And maybe you guys can all do your homework when you leave here. All right. Okay. So we talked about acoustic wave therapy for women. Let's see. Yes, I covered that. I want to cover hormones. Okay. Hormones are essential for men and women. It is important for men and women to know what your hormone status is. As we get older, our hormones tend to drop. So men tend to have a drop in testosterone. Women tend to have a drop in estrogen and progesterone, sometimes DHEA. So it's really important to make sure that you know what your hormone levels are, because there is an optimal level and then there's a normal level. So if you are 70, normally you should have low testosterone and low estrogen. That is not optimal. Okay. We want to maintain our hormones at an optimal level. And so as we get older, going to a hormone doctor and getting your hormones tested and getting hormone replacement is essential to maintain our health. Okay. For men, obviously, there's a lot of men that take testosterone, helping them to maintain their strength, etc. But women need testosterone too. And men also need estrogen and progesterone too. So, and there are different levels. So a lot of times people don't realize it, that we all have the same hormones. Excuse me. We all have the same hormones, just at different levels for women and men. Okay. So looking at those hormones and making sure that you maintain optimal levels. So I like to talk about a product, and I didn't bring it with me, and I should have. It's called Parlor Games. Parlor Games is a topical treatment for estrogen and progesterone and DHEA. Okay. And it is a cream that you put, the estrogen cream goes directly over your vulva or inside your labia. Okay. For women, the progesterone cream goes on your forearm. So I usually put it here. I do use these myself. Okay. And it helps to maintain optimal levels of hormones so that you can maintain optimal skin tissue health. As your body gets older in women, because our estrogen drops, estrogen is a key component in our vaginal tissue. So think about the tissue as like links in a fence. If one of the links is meant to have an estrogen particle there, right? And there's no estrogen, then that space is going to be empty. And so it's going to cause the tissue itself, if there's lots of empty spaces, to become very papery and thin. And sometimes it can even cause micro tearing of the tissue. And then that can cause painful sex. So we want to make sure that we avoid that by using estrogen cream, progesterone cream, so that we maintain our healthy hormones throughout our lives. Okay. So I'm talking more about hormones with women, but hormones are absolutely important for men as well. Okay. So that's Parlor Games. I wanted to talk to you about that. And then let's talk about masturbation, because we brought it up earlier. Masturbating is so essential for men. It is also very important for women to maintain healthy blood flow to their tissue. And also super important for women to understand what makes them orgasm. Because if you don't know what makes you orgasm, you're not going to be able to translate that to the bedroom, and you're not going to get your needs met. And there is something called an orgasm gap that I talk about all the time on my show, that in heterosexual relationships, women are having less orgasms than men. And so it's very important for you to understand what makes you come, what makes you orgasm, so that you can bring that knowledge into the bedroom and teach your partner what you need. Okay. Because we cannot assume that our partner is going to magically know what buttons to push or what works for us. So it is essential for women to understand what works for them. And so masturbation is important. And I also will too say here that masturbation is important to keep as a solo practice, whether you're not in a relationship or whether you are in a relationship. You should still have that solo practice all the time. Okay. It is the relationship that you have with yourself. It's part of self-care. Excuse me. All this talking is making my throat itchy. So continue to masturbate even when you enter into a new relationship, is what I'm trying to say here. Okay.
If you've ever wished sex could feel more connected, more intense, or honestly just more fun, you need to check out Shameless Care. They're a telemedicine company built entirely around sexual health, real doctors, real prescriptions, and products that actually work. Like Shameless Chemistry, their oxytocin plus tadalafil blend that deepens connection and boosts arousal. Or Shamelessly Aroused, a topical cream with the active ingredient found in men's ED medication, increasing blood flow exactly where it counts. Every order includes a short video introduction from your doctor, transparent pricing, and no subscriptions ever. Just real, sex-positive healthcare that delivers results. Because you're a Please Me listener, you can use coupon code PLEASEME for $15 off your order of any product on the Shameless Care website. Use the code PLEASEME, that's PLEASEME, at checkout to claim your $15 off. Again, that's shamelesscare.com, code PLEASEME. Because great sex shouldn't be complicated. It should be shameless. This episode is sponsored by Shameless Care.
All right, so I think I covered everything that I wanted to cover in terms of women's health. So now we're going to get into the safer for the holidays portion of the show. And I'm going to be talking about a product line called Shameless Care. And I have interviewed the creator of Shameless Care 3 times on my show. He was on, him and his partner was on the show twice this season. And last season he was also on, and he talks about various things. His company, Shameless Care, is an online medical company where you can get different types of medications and you can get a 14-panel STI test. And so knowing your STI status is absolutely essential to be safe when you're having new encounters or encounters with people that you don't see on a regular, or even with your partner, right? Because if you have a new partner, it's really nice to be able to test together so that you guys are all on the same page and you can have that discussion. So Shameless Care offers a 14-panel test. And what I love about this test is that, you know, in the United States, oral testing is not something that is done unless you request it. And many doctors don't even know what to test for because it's not something that we do on a regular here. In Australia, it is actually part of their regular STI testing, but for some reason in the United States, we skip it, okay? And the reason why that's bad is because sexually transmitted infections can live in our throat. You can have chlamydia, you can have gonorrhea, and you can have syphilis in your throat. And it might be negative down below, but positive up here. So it's essential to test your throat and also your anus if you are into any kind of anal play, even rimming, okay? Because if you're putting your mouth down there, that can also transmit any infection. And so knowing your anal status is important. So this 14-panel test is something that I love to talk about. I think it's amazing. I did it myself. It's something that gets delivered to your home. You do the test yourself. It's a urine test, a blood test, and swabs. Okay. And it's really very easy to do. You send it back to the lab. They read the lab. There's a doctor that looks at your intake form and looks at your lab results. And if there are any issues, they will send medication over to your pharmacy. And if there are no issues, then you can take that testing and you can take a picture of it and you can keep it in your phone so that if you are going to have a new encounter with somebody new, you can share those test results with them. Or if you have partners already, you know, and you see them on a regular, it's important to share your test results with them whenever you get them so that you can make sure that everyone's on the same page. And consent is, part of consent is knowing more information and gathering data about your partner so that you can make the most informed decision of whether you want to move forward or not. And so it helps with the consent piece by providing information to your partners and not being avoidant. Okay. It is not sexy to be avoidant and to not provide education. What is sexy is providing your information so that you can know that you're going to be safe, and when you're safe, and women particularly need to feel safe in order to really truly enjoy the sexual experience. So we're giving everybody that safety net. Okay. So the 14 panel test is incredible. They also offer other products that I just recently learned about on the two episodes that I just did with them. And they offer an oxytocin nasal spray. And is anyone familiar with what oxytocin is? So you use the pellets, Terry? So yes, testosterone is essential, right? So sometimes people need medications for other things, right? Testosterone and hormones are one thing. Now we're talking about other stuff. Oxytocin is the connection hormone. Okay. So sometimes you can use this nasal spray to help to get that connection going with your partner. If you're having some nerves or anything like that, the oxytocin can also help with that. They have two varieties. One is the oxytocin by itself, and then the other one is oxytocin with either the Viagra or Cialis. I can't remember which one it is, but it is a smaller dosage for women, and it helps with increasing that blood flow. So they also offer, Cialis and Viagra for men. They do the generic form. I'm just using those words because they're easier to say than the generic forms. But as I'm talking, I just want you to know that when I say either Cialis or Viagra, I mean the generic form. They offer that on their online store. They offer the oxytocin nasal spray, and the combination of the oxytocin and Viagra for women in a nasal spray form. They also offer like an oral tablet that has oxytocin and Cialis in it. And for women, okay, for women, these medications were not available until just recently. And so it's really exciting to have a place to go to get these medications, okay? Because women have blood flow issues as well. And so, of course, we want to mitigate causing blood flow issues by eating healthy. But if we're having those issues already, we want to sort of focus on nutrition. That's one, but also in the moment when you're not having the right blood flow, this can help. Okay. And then they also offer an arousal cream. And the arousal cream also has 5 milligrams of Cialis and also the oxytocin. So it's interesting because they have it in different forms and in different combinations, depending on what works for you. Okay. And then what are the other things that they carry? Oh, another thing that I wanted to talk about. So we talked about STI transmission and oral sex. Something that is really key is to understand what doxypep is. Okay. Doxypep is an antibiotic that can be taken within 72 hours of exposure if you've had unprotected oral sex, okay, or if you've had a condom that's broken, or an unwanted exposure. And so doxypep is an antibiotic that you can take within 72 hours of exposure to decrease your risk of syphilis, gonorrhea, and chlamydia. And it is amazing what this medication has done to STIs in the last couple of years. STIs have been on the rise for years. And in the last couple of years, they have gone down because of doxypep. But you have to take the medication within 72 hours of exposure. So I like to talk about creating a sexual health bug out bag. And what do we put in that sexual health bug out bag? Obviously, tons of condoms. Obviously, your favorite lubes, making sure that you have lubes that are good for unprotected sex, if you are having unprotected sex with any partner, and having lube for, and, using a condom. If you're using a condom, you have to use the right type of lube because, for instance, if you like coconut oil, which is one of my favorites, coconut oil, unfortunately, is not good to use with condoms. It can cause breakage. So you don't want to use it with condoms. Also, having lots of condoms, okay? Don't just bring one condom to the party. You got to bring lots of condoms because you need to switch your condoms on a regular basis. They only last for a short period of time, and then you need to put another one on, okay, to stay safe. So bringing lots of condoms and always bringing lots of lube and different types of lube, okay, is essential. And then you want to have in that bug out bag your DoxyPep in the event that you have an unwanted exposure so that you can decrease the risk of getting any of those STIs. Okay. I just got an email recently from Shameless Care, and I am associated with this company. I, have talked about them on my show, and I just got an email from them saying that they're now providing, and it's interesting because I asked them this question on our podcast. I was like, what about yeast infections? What about UTIs? Because women often will get a yeast infection or a UTI after sexual activity, especially if there's, if you're not used to using condoms and then suddenly you introduce condoms, or you've tried a new lube, or you have a new partner. I mean, there's just so many different reasons why women, the pH of the vagina can get thrown off and cause a yeast infection or urinary tract infection. Okay. And these are problems that happen on a regular to women. Now, Shameless Care is also offering treatment for these things as well, which I find amazing because sometimes it's just really hard to find time in your day to run to the doctor. I know when you have a urinary tract infection, you have to literally go immediately because it's extremely painful, and it causes frequency and urgency. So you're constantly running to the bathroom and it's burning like crazy. I mean, men have UTIs too. So this is something that can affect you as well. But for women, it's much more common. So sometimes it's a real big pain to have to run to the doctor when you have a full day. You can get onto the website. You can plug in your form. They have a very extensive medical form that you tell them your history, etc. The doctor will review it. They'll maybe reach out to you with questions about anything specific. And then if they determine that you have a yeast infection or a urinary tract infection, they will send you the medication for that. Okay. They'll send it to your pharmacy and you can go pick it up. So it is a very quick turnaround. I think it's within an hour, which is what I think it was even less than that, but I don't know the exact minutes. But it's, from the time that you fill out your intake form to the time that they send it to your pharmacy, it's a very short amount of time. So you can get the treatment pretty quickly, which I think is phenomenal. Another thing that I hate about going to the doctor, wow, it's already 12:58, is that when you go to the doctor, you'll say, hey, I'm sexually active. I need more than just one yeast infection thing because I might get another one in a couple months. They don't want to give you refills. And Shameless Care doesn't do that. They give you, when you order the DoxyPep, the lowest amount that they give you is 15 because they know, and the person that created this company is a swinger, that you may have other exposures in the future. So why just experience, go to the doctor for one exposure and then you got to go back again in a week or 2 weeks, or you want to have this in your bug out bag. So DoxyPep is one of those things that you should have. And same thing, I think, with urinary tract infection medication. Well, that's usually antibiotics and it needs to be fresh, but yeast infection medication as well. You should have that in your bug out bag, just in case you start getting one, you start taking the medication right away. Okay, so we talked about DoxyPep. We talked about yeast infection and UTIs. Okay, and then also, if you find that during the STI testing you have herpes, okay, herpes is something that is very common. 66% of people have herpes simplex 1, and I believe it's 33% have herpes simplex 2. Both of them are sexually transmitted infections, so they can be passed along through oral sex or through penetrative sex, and they're extremely common. They do offer the medication valacyclovir or valcyclovir over, through the company itself, Shameless Care. So that's something that is good to know as well. Okay. So I think I did everything that I wanted to say, and just in time. So any questions before I say goodbye? Because I've been going on, and I'm going to just go back and look at the list to see if there's any questions that I missed. So I don't know what you mean by audio. Do you not hear me? That would be horrible if you couldn't hear me this whole time. My show, Please Me, is audio and video. Okay, you can watch the video on Spotify or YouTube, and you can listen audio wise on all the other platforms, Apple and iHeartRadio and the zillion other podcast platforms that are in existence. Okay, when you look me up, find me at Please Me Podcast with Eve. That's me. Okay, I can't read that. Sorry, Jolanda. HPV is very common, extremely common. HPV is a human papillomavirus. It's also known as genital warts. And, I didn't even talk about that today, but genital warts is extremely common, and it can be deadly. Okay. If you have genital warts, it increases your risk of cervical cancer for women. But a lot of people don't realize that it also increases your risk for penile cancer and anal cancer and throat cancer. Okay. So we do not want to get HPV. And what you can do for HPV is get the vaccine. So, now they recommend that kids get the vaccine in their teen years, right? But if you're older and you've never gotten the vaccine, you can ask for it from your doctor. So you're not too old. You can still get the vaccine. You just have to ask for it, and you might have to pay for it. Insurance doesn't cover the vaccine for all ages, which is stupid, because what if you get divorced in your 50s and you've never had the vaccine? You should go get it so that you decrease your risk of getting HPV, but you might have to pay out of pocket for it depending on your insurance and how late they will cover the vaccine for. So that's something that is very important to know. You can get the vaccine if you're older. Yes, it's very common. It's very common. And you want to avoid getting it, okay? Because there are some kinds that are less dangerous and don't cause the cancers, but they cause actual warts. So you wouldn't really want actual warts down there either, right? And then there are some that cause the cancers, but they don't cause the warts. So, and there are many, many, many different strains. So when you take the vaccine, it diminishes your risk of getting the ones that cause cancer, which are the really bad ones. Okay. So definitely, if you haven't gotten the vaccine, ask for it. Okay. Your body can process it out, okay, over time. Some viruses can be processed out of your body over time. But if you get tested regularly, you will know whether or not that process is out or not. You might be positive for 6 months, a year, 2 years, and then suddenly you start becoming negative, and negative and negative. So that's good. If your body's healthy and your body, is getting lots of nutrition, like we talked about before, and getting like the micronutrients from plant-based food, like we discussed before, that the Juice Plus gives you, your body's going to have a better chance of being able to fight off infections and kill things like HPV. But you might not be able to process it out of your body, and you might have it for a long time, or forever. Okay, so just try not to get it. Okay, I think that hepatitis is like that too. If you get hepatitis, it can also over time process out of your body. But sometimes people will get, if you've heard of long COVID, people can also get long hepatitis where it's chronic and it just stays and doesn't go away. And so that's a problem too. So just trying to avoid getting infections in the first place is what I really like to talk about, prevention, so that we can all stay healthy but continue to enjoy our sex lives for years to come. Shamelesscare.com. And if you use the code PLEASEME, all lowercase letters, you will get $15 off any item on the website, whether it be the 14-panel test or any other medication. Shamelesscare.com. And what I'm going to do is, I'm going to get off now. But please join the webinar. Okay, if you haven't done so already, I'm going to close this out here, but go back to the flyer. And on the flyer, there's a little spot that says, join the webinar, or like, I don't know, I can't exactly remember what the words are, but just, make sure that you join it so that you're part of the group chat for this webinar. And I am going to place all of the information that I've spoken about in that group chat so that you can have the links. Okay. And again, you're welcome to reach out to me here on sdc.com. I do check my messages on a regular if you're interested in working with me. And I do 15-minute calls, free calls, if you are interested in chatting with me one-on-one about any kind of issues that you're having. And then we can determine if it would be appropriate for you to work with me. I do health coaching, I do intimacy coaching, and I have a private practice where I provide physical therapy for sexual health conditions. So with all of that being said, I think that I've read everybody's, messages in the chat, and I want to wish everybody happy holidays. And thank you so much for attending and listening today. And check out my show. All right. My show is #1 in the world. So it's a great show. I have great guests on there. It's always education based. And this season I did a kink series, and I have maybe 5 or 6 different kink episodes that are incredible. I went to DomCon, which is a conference for dominatrixes, and I met such amazing women there, and I interviewed a bunch of them on my show. So they provide an incredible amount of education in regards to the BDSM world and kink. And so if that's something that interests you, please check out my show. Okay? Thanks, Lexi. I didn't know you were here. Yes. Okay, I didn't realize that was you that wrote those things until now. Okay, you guys. Happy holidays. Bye.
If you're feeling disconnected from your body, struggling with intimacy, or facing a sexual health condition, you're not alone. There is no shame in what you're experiencing, and you don't have to figure it out on your own. But the longer you wait, the harder it becomes to reclaim your confidence, pleasure, and connection. That's why I offer a free 15-minute discovery call to explore what's going on and whether working together is the right next step. Spots fill quickly, so don't wait. The link is in the show notes. Grab your time now.
Are you looking for a sexy date? Look no further than SDC.com. SDC.com is the premier ethically non-monogamous website that is worldwide. It also hosts a wealth of information on sexuality and sexual health, and I host a free live webinar monthly on the site. You can use code 37340 for a free trial membership on me, and be sure to reach out on the site and say hello.
I want to personally invite you to join me on Patreon for ad-free listening, bonus episodes, and early releases. Already there is a lot of bonus content on there with many webinars that I've done in the past and a show that I've never released to the public before. My show is completely self-funded, and when you are able to support me in this way, I'm able to spread my message of body positivity, self-love, and women's empowerment, and empowerment in general around sexuality around the globe. And so with that being said, I appreciate everyone who has already joined Patreon, and if you've thought about joining, now's your nudge to do so. I thank you from the bottom of my heart.